Sabrina, when Salmi, she's an incredible mom. She's the power mom. She's a single mom of 5. And all.
She's not single.
No, I'm not anymore.
I'm not married. I'm a single mom.
She was. So she's, my idol. She had 5 children, and then they all written their own books. And a few of them become the motivational speaker. And the youngest one, how old is he? 5 years old, wrote his own book. It's amazing. And she's the business, mentor, she's very success. So whatever we think we cannot do, let's hear from her, Sabrina. You come together?
Yes.
And we also have Roxanne. Roxanne St.Clair, she's also Sabrina's business partner.
Yeah, one of my business partners. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I feel like I missed out on so much,
Yes.
guys. Oh my god. I was determined to get here. It was just a bit crazy coming down. We've got something I want to share, but I kind of, if it's okay, time permitting, I want to speak about a little bit about parenting. Because we're speaking about conscious entrepreneurs, and often when I go places, and I do, thank you for acknowledging what the kids have done. People have this perception that you have supernova and you have normal. I just want to lay this on the table. I am no different to any of you guys here. I cry, I bleed the same. The thing is, especially with our children, I like the advice that you gave. Ask children what their perception is. Because my children's perception of what they're doing, they're having fun learning. They are playing. And they go home, they have healthy competition. Tracy, thank you so much for the support you've given us. That's my mother over there. They have fun learning, and it's about the perception. See, most of the pain that we experience is due to the meaning that we choose to subscribe to what's taking place, or what we're observing, okay? So, with my children, because they're learning and having fun learning, they don't see other children as a threat or competition. They'll go, the siblings are trying to get more than each other, don't get me wrong, but it's fun. It's the essence of playfulness, and I think as we become adults, and it ties into what we're going to talk about, we lose an essence of that. If you come to any of my business meetings, I have we work with brands, various brands, Virgin, you name it, we've kind of done it through myself or through the children. But it's playfulness. People that are in our network understand the ethos of life, creativity. And where does the most creativity come from? It's from childhood. Where do our pains come from? Not from today, it's from childhood. Even the situations we find ourselves, be that in romantic or business, professional aspect, it's from childhood. So we're actually trying to heal and get over pains that we're dragging forth into our present reality, but we're going back. So how can we just be more playful and be open to what's here, the play, this is a playground, You are all public speakers. You're all spoken today, right? Yeah. So you're public speakers. And guess what? The world is your stage. And what are you going to start sharing? Be that a mum at home, a father at home, going to work, wherever you are, you're sharing something. But the question is, are you just speaking, or are you intentionally sharing? Okay? So Roxanne, over to you. I've spoken enough.
I do want to touch on what was said, because I was somewhere close to where you are, 10 years ago now. But I'm going to challenge you and say that you're actually being selfish by saying that you're putting your children first. Because your children, you are their greatest teacher. And if you are always teaching them that I don't matter, because I'm putting you first, I'm doing this, I am the martyr to your being, well, it's actually putting a pressure on them. Yes. It's putting the pressure on them, but it's also not giving them the opportunity to see you at your best, because whatever you're denying yourself, they are feeding off of that. And why I'm saying it to you is because I was there. It took me getting to my 40th year that I decided to become the woman I'm meant to be. And things turned around in such a way that I started spending more time doing the things that I was passionate about. and getting involved in charities, and that stood for what I believed in. And I've got 2 sons, and I have got a husband, but he works away a lot of the time, so I was the parent at home, dropping them off, picking them up, dragging them to work with me when I was going to client sites to finish off work. But they came and they played. They played with my clients' children and stuff. But they knew what I was doing. They felt involved in what I was doing. Even now, my eldest is 22, my youngest is 18. I do events, I do charitable stuff. They come along, they take part, they feel part of what I'm doing, they know what I'm doing. And where Beverly said, ask your children who you are, they tell you.
You were saying to me this morning, I'm a princess.
Emojis for my 22-year-old who's at uni, telling me about who I am. Even a couple of days ago, we were messaging. And one of the things that he came out with, which I'll get him when he gets home for Christmas, is that, oh yeah, that's the consistent one. And you're the one who's like, because I act crazy at home. I'm the one that will be dancing around doing nonsense with my kids, and they're like, oh gosh, she's at it again. But as Sabrina said, why do we let go of that child that's within us? We're all children, and when we can touch base with that and be who we are and who we're supposed to be, life takes on a totally different picture. Sabrina says, our business calls, if anyone sat in on one of our business calls, whether it's the 2 of us together or with our clients, the amount of laughter that takes place, but the work that gets done is amazing. And that's why we chose to work with conscious entrepreneurs. And these are people that have had a calling from a very early age. And they've done the sensible thing, they've had the job, they've done what's expected of them, and they've kept going, but something's always been missing. And then they make that decision to say, okay, what is the thing that's really about me? What's the thing that I really love doing? And they give themselves permission to go and do it. And then they're at that stage where they've given themselves permission, but they still have the doubt. And then we come in and totally change their roles for them. And because Beverly and I used to work together very many years ago. And so I did the sensible thing, and my background's accountancy. So I did the sensible thing because I'm quite methodical. So I create systems and structure and processes. I do it in my sleep. I don't have to think about doing that. So when people talk to me about their business or what they want to do, as they're talking, I'm already saying, oh yeah, and it's going up in my head. But I can't always share it straight away because they will get frightened. So we came up with our own system of how we would work with conscious entrepreneurs. And we have different modules depending on where people are at. And we just have fun.
Roxanne, we were talking last night and we were just, as we usually do, and we've got to understand, I think it's the labelling. It's a meeting, it's this. Learn to be out of the box so it can take place anywhere, allow the magic to come through. And what did we say? You caught it as it came out, but it was like, how does it feel? And I really want you to connect with this. How does it feel to be so comfortable with yourself that you could just allow yourself to go with the flow? You're not just someone's mum. You're not just someone's son. You're not just a CEO. You're not one that has to deliver. Just allow yourself to go with the flow. Because I think as we go through life, we have too many labelling. We take it on and it backpacks, and I think it's about time if you agree with me, it comes a time you have to let it go. Just put it down. And half the stuff isn't even yours, so why carry it around with you? Right. Okay, so with regards to conscious entrepreneurs, it really gets Roxanne and I fired up, and it's like it's really interesting because we will be sharing aspects, but when you get to the core of who you are, and it doesn't mean that that's the core and it will always be that, but in every different segment, so you have segments of life. So right now, you connect to this essence of what fires you up, what gets you going, and it will evolve naturally as you go on, but just if you keep reaching for that centering, that grounding, there's an activation of this through me process. You become a conduit of what you're delivering and not needing to stand a certain way and to do. I think, we're quite troublesome. Like naturally in our character, I'm an only child, so I was always up to mischief. My mum's here, I've got to be honest. And I love going to events where people don't know us. Because I walk in with 5 kids and go, oh my God, those are next to us. You hear all the whispers. And then we end up knowing the host. And then we go up and they go, oh, Sabrina's here with the 5 kids. They've published books, they've done that. And the reason why I like that is because I love to shatter the greatest illusions. See, single parents, you will know there was so much stigma attached to single parent that they have no idea who you really are. Is someone willing to share like a dream that they've had way before they became a single parent? Someone brave enough? Just raise a hand, please. Come on, this is your space, it's a safe space. But what I'm trying to get at is that we have dreams and aspirations, we forget about them. Is anyone willing to share something they've always thought about when they was a child?
Yeah, just wanted to become a solicitor, and I'm stuck on the same job as a carer for the last 15 years. Even if I got that degree.
Exactly. So, clear example that your marital status has nothing to do with your dreams, right? It doesn't determine who you are as a person. So this is what I love to do, is that when we walk in there, it's not, oh wow, we've achieved that, but actually your perception of me means nothing. See, next time when you see someone, instead of throwing judgment, just allow yourself to go inwards. What do I want to achieve? Focus on you. And every time we go out, we touch on that. They don't know nothing about our journey. They don't even know why we started to do this. They only see the fame and glory. They see that these kids have done these amazing things. They have fun learning, and the same can be true for everyone in this room. We show you how through social conscious entrepreneurs, but it's the playfulness. We actually really serious about this, isn't it, Roxanne? We cherry pick. Why? Because far too often we go into life and allow everyone else to enter our energy. When the phone rings, we pick it up. Who said you had to answer the call? Is it within my allocated time? Everyone who knows me knows very much I'm a very busy person. Not just because I'm buzzing around doing nothing, but because I'm very respectful of my field. And it took me a long time to get to that premise. Okay? And the reason why Roxanne and I came together is because we realised that there are fundamental key principles that we need to integrate into our lives in order to bake the cake that we desire to. So you wouldn't put the ingredients of a Victoria sponge into a chocolate cake, right? Doesn't make sense. So why do we mix ingredients into our lives that are not going to give us our desired outcomes? We're borrowing, showing up, holding labels, carrying someone else's backpack, and you're not tired, like it's just draining speaking about it. Most of the time when we're working with conscious entrepreneurs, Roxanne, what we're doing, unpacking their backpack. People go, oh yeah, I want to be visible, I want to be on TV. Guess what? What's going on at home? Do you have clutter? We want to address what's going on so we can relay the foundation so you can build whatever you want. But if you haven't inserted the foundation, what's going to happen? Not rocket science. It's going to look pretty for a period of time, but eventually it's going to fall down.
And the other thing is that we found with conscious entrepreneurs is that they've got brilliant ideas, brilliant skills and natural talents, but the amount of self-doubt that comes through is unbelievable. And it's only through having conversations where we do our calls on Zoom, so we'll be on the call, and what we then find is that things come out and the light bulbs are flashing, and then the pearls that come out just in the conversation is that that's it. And what we've then seen is that's another product. That's another thing. This is another stream. So where you were talking about financial structure, having assets, you did mention it, but multiple streams of income and all of this. It's people have got it all within them, but they're just holding it down there. But it's when you allow yourself to just tap into what you've already got, and the conversations start.
I was excited listening to it.
And sometimes I'll be naughty because sometimes we look at the images on the screen, and you see the two of us looking into the window like this.
It's phenomenal.
Because the pennies drop for us about with telepathy. Is that, did you just hear that? Did you just get? Are you thinking what I'm thinking? And B1 and B2. Remember that? But that's when it gets to the level where it's coming through you, and people are so engaged with what they've got to deliver. Because if if you're like me, you'll believe that every one of us in this room was born with our own unique gifts and talents.
Absolutely.
But it's up to us to actually identify them and own them and then use them. And I've created a set of cards called the Value in You. And the one that's on value says that the thing that comes to you naturally and you can do easily, you don't always put a value on it. But when you learn to put a value on it, it then opens up the world for you, and that could be the thing that makes a difference for you. So what I had to employ you to think about, what is the thing that you do easy? Someone has a conversation with you and you can give them an answer without thinking about it, and you can see it all, structure it for them. That is part of your unique gift, but how are you using it? And this is where we're working with conscious entrepreneurs to say, get right back to that unique gift that you've got, because nobody else will do it like you, even if somebody is doing something similar. And then that's why we have fun.
But you know, I guess, you know, conscious entrepreneur, the whole premise of it is about being you, just come as you are. Okay, you're good enough just the way you are. This is really what we are constantly reinforcing in our clients, is that there's nothing else you need to know, because our cups are full up. Would you agree? Into so many events and learn so much. Now it's time to give, but also receive, like what Roxanne's saying. Identifying the value in you. What do people come to you for? What are your friends and family always on the phone to you about? That's the value you give. But unfortunately, and it's not unfortunate, we find that a lot of our conscious entrepreneurs tend to be the one that everyone runs to. There's no exchange of finance, but they're always the first ones to be called. They're always the first one there with the cape on their back rescuing. But when we tap into that, life is a journey of market research, and what you choose to do with the data is up to you. So the question is, what have you been doing your entire life that you've become an expert at? You're not attaching the value to it. Not at all, not at all. You know, there are some people that like to hear, but you know, I guess the results, I'm guessing you're here thinking, what are the results? Since tapping into that, I've charged more now than I've ever charged for coaching. I sit from the comfort of my home. Just to give an example, I'm not saying this to go, wow, I want you to understand that the shift that happens when you let go of the need to impress anybody. If someone asks what I do, I'm a full-time mum. In my part-time, I play. And I've opened schools and I create products, but I coach from home. One of my packages is £9,000, and I sit at home via Zoom, via Skype. I spend an hour with a client once a week for 9 weeks, and that's how I earn my money, part-time. Have I done that before? Never in my life. Not at that value, because I now understand the value of it. I now value that, so I don't even leave my home. I actually tailor my packages so I don't have to leave my home. Because what's more important to me? I'm a mother of 5. I want to spend time with the people that I love most. My mother, my children, my family, my friends. And you have to think about that. The value in you can unlock you, but first and foremost, before you even get to that, you have to be honest with yourself. See, I had to learn to say, I'm not so good at this. I struggle with that. Can you help me out, please? Could you come and hold my hand? Because I'm scared. See, how often do you feel fear that let's pretend that's not happening? How often do you know that I've been trying this for so long, but finance is not quite coming in? So when you learn to be honest with yourself and reconnect, that's when the magic really begins to happen. This is when Roxanne and I decided to team up, because we realised, and the same is true for each of you in the room, the people who you are servicing are actually just a mirror image of where you used to be. So go out, it's actually not fair that you're not sharing, because they are waiting and screaming to shift from where they are. Okay, so I'll leave you there.